Hi guys, it's Calvin, also known as Romer, and this is my top 50 favorite games of all time. Just to let you know before this video starts, I did a video a while back that lets you pick your favorite game of all time, and then I would read it out in a separate video that's going to be coming up very soon. If you did not give your submission, because there have been a few new people that came to the channel, you can click the link in the description below. It'll be the first link, and then you can go straight to that video and tell me why it's your favorite game of all time. There will be instructions in the comment section of that video as well, and then I will read out what you said and your name in the video when I actually eventually make that, when all this is said and done. That's all I wanted to say when I started this video. I have kind of said all I wanted to say about this. The only thing I will say is that I love all of these games. To get into this list is an amazing thing for me because I love video games and they all deserve to be here. Let's do this.
You've come here to save your mother. You don't look powerful in the least, but somehow I just know you can beat him.
So at number 30, it's Crash Bandicoot 2. This is a game that you can play over and over again. It's a game that never gets old for me. Every single level is so much fun. In fact, it's one of those games that, when you finish one level, you're excited to go into the next, and then you finish that level and you're like, I can't wait for the next one. And it just keeps going like that over and over and over again. Even when you fail in these games, there's a certain charm to them. You die in Crash Bandicoot 2 and you just want to get up and go again. Even when you lose all your lives, as long as you saved, it's not that big of a drag, and you want to just go back into these levels. That's one of the strengths of this platformer for me in general, is because I can go through these games over and over again and never feel any fatigue. I think that I think that that's a really strong point for these games and Crash Bandicoot in general, and I think that they are very accurate. I don't know where this difficulty spike came out of with the Crash games. There was a reviewer, and I'm not insulting him, there's a reviewer who couldn't finish the games. It was very weird for me because I think as a child I beat that game, and I think a lot of you have beaten that game as a child as well. When I was 5 years old I beat it. But I really love Crash Bandicoot 2, and I do want to give an honorable mention. I think it is kind of right beside this, and that's Crash Tag Team Racing. I know the game that I loved as a kid. Didn't play it as much, but I do still love it, and I wanted it to be on this list anyway. So Crash Bandicoot 2 I think just is an amazing platformer and one of my favorites of all time. I wish I could put it as my favorite, but it's not my favorite platformer of all time.
Nasty Nork is a simple creature. Simple! He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat! Besides, he is ugly. Ugly? That does it!
Looks like I've got some things to do.
Next on the list is Spyro the Dragon 1. Now, when you get into a top 30 list of games, I feel like it's, it looks bad. When you make a top 30 list, you're putting games, you're putting games down under a 20 bar and a 10 bar, and all of a sudden people look at it as kind of this game that's not very good in your eyes. But to put this in the top 30 over so many other games that I played, to me is a good check mark against it, or for it I should say. Spyro the Dragon is just a chill game. It's chill. You can go through this game and just have such a chill time. It's easy, it's fun. Yes, the boss battles are not very good, but to me it's still fantastic. So I do cheat a lot with these lists, and next up is Rayman 2 and 3. Rayman 2 and 3 are my favorite platformers, I think, of all platformers. I think they're the best. They're 3D platformers with these amazing worlds and amazing characters with awesome music, awesome levels, these really cool cutscenes that make you really excited for the next part of the game. And I don't care what anyone says, the missions where you are skating on waves of light are some of the coolest moments in those games, and they offer a break in between each of the platforming levels, which makes it even more fun. Rayman as a character as well is something I've wanted to go back to 3D for quite a while. I haven't played the other games, the Rayman Origin games, just because 3D Rayman is so etched in my mind. I remember Rayman 3 the most, the game that you can switch between different powers and stuff like that, because in my mind constantly there was the level with the witch and the level with the hunter that scared me so much as a child, but I am so very much in to this game and these games. I think Rayman is so fantastic, and please make a return to 3D eventually. I know you're making gangster money releasing Rayman Origins and Legends 52 times on different consoles, but please eventually make another 3D game.
Excuses, excuses. You've not changed a bit.
Yen? How?
I received a report about a witcher who'd appeared in White Orchard. I knew it was you, looking for me. I might have waited until you found me, but... well, you know me. Patience has never been my strong suit.
Next on this list is The Witcher 3. It pains me so much that I might have to put this below anything but one. But there are so many games that I love that I would put above this game. Now here's my standpoint on this game. I've played through this game twice. I've done all the side quests twice. I have loved this game twice and still do. This game holds such a special place in my heart. I remember every story beat. I remember every character. I remember all the side quests. As soon as someone says, "Oh, do you remember this side quest?" I'm like, yes, I do. This is a freaking amazing world. It's also a living, breathing world. There are people farming. There are people bringing their cattle from different places. There are choices in this game that are bad for you, and you have to recognize that these choices are bad for you. It's not just like in a game where it's like you have two responses and it's like oh, he's like, "Hey son, you gotta go to the water tower, it's gonna break," and you can go no or yes, and no is the bad one and yes is the good one. You have to think about exactly what you are saying, because if you get a wrong answer, you are not in trouble, but you could end up killing somebody. You could end up like murdering somebody that doesn't deserve to be murdered. You could end up like with a completely different story point with a girl. You could end up romancing a girl, or maybe killing a girl that you're trying to romance. You could end up like murdering innocents. It's such a fantastic world, this living, breathing world, and I have to shout it from the rooftops because I will a million times over, but Skellige is one of the best places I've been to in a video game, and I'm having this rush of energy, and I'm kind of regretting it putting this like here in the list, because it is such an amazing game. And here's the only reason why I'm putting it down so freaking far. The best parts of this game are roaming from place to place on a horse. The best parts of this game are talking to people, learning people's stories, going into different worlds and exploring, but I just am not that big of a fan of the combat. And here's the thing, here's what I'll say. I played the two games on normal difficulty. I then went through a quarter of the game on the hardest difficulty, and the combat becomes so much more amazing because you actually have to like work. You have to use different potions and different like buffs for your weapon. You have to do these things or else you're gonna die. And I would recommend to anyone who wants to have the challenge of combat, with also the world building of the game, would actually like do it on the hardest difficulty, because like it improves the game's combat so much. And I'm not trying to sound like an elitist here, like I'm like too good. I got trashed. I was destroyed by hard difficulty. I couldn't even get past the first quarter of the game, but like it did make the combat like really interesting for me. The Witcher 3 is freaking amazing, man. It's freaking amazing. So here's the first time a Pokemon game is on the list, and it's Pokemon Yellow and Blue and Red, I guess. There is a reason why this game is here, and I love the Pokemon games with all of my heart. I love these games so much. I'm one of those people that like whenever a Pokemon game came out, apart from on the DS ones because I didn't actually have a DS, but like Pokemon games on the Game Boy, and then I just like kind of skipped the DS, I'll be completely honest guys, but like I love the formula. I love the going to the 8 gyms and fighting the Elite Four. It works all the time because you can pick different Pokemon each time. And that's another thing, the connection you get with your Pokemon is something that cannot be duplicated. It's this feeling of them fighting for you, from them dying for you, them being poisoned for you, them being put asleep, being hurt for you, and you learn to love these Pokemon throughout the game, to the point that when you put a Pokemon in, it's like in the computer, it feels bad. And Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Blue were like the first to do it, and it's one of the greatest RPGs of all time is this game. And to me, like, there's so many aspects that I could list about like how much I actually like think this game is one of the greatest RPGs of all time. And the main aspects I think I want to focus on is not only the connection with the Pokemon, but the connection with the world. Each town has like its own like feel to it, has its own lore to it, has its own like problems and people, and like people take this for granted in Pokemon, but they have this in these games. You go to each town and they will explain like what happened in this town years ago, the history of this town, what this town is famous for, and like it doesn't get enough credit because it's in black and white. But this game is amazing. Stupendous is a good word for it.
See how he rides. Like a warrior son.
The Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. I did a review for this on my channel. It would be very cheap to just show the review that I did on my channel, but I think this game is absolutely amazing. Again, this is one of those games that like really like innovated, not innovated, but started the whole thing of like, let's do parkour in video games. And I still think they've done it the best out of all of the games that I've played. Now the thing is, I've played Mirror's Edge and I think it's really fun, but to me the mixture of combat with like a linear focused game really like helps Prince of Persia edge that out completely for me. I also think that Yuri Lowenthal is one of my favorite voice actors after Sean Chiplock, but we'll talk about him again much later. The Prince is so authentic in everything he does. Again, he is like this pompous character. He is this self-righteous character who thinks that he's better than people, and it comes across in Yuri Lorenthal's actual like performance of the Prince. There's times like he murdered an entire city. He killed like everyone in the city. He killed Farah's father. Like, he didn't do it personally, but his people did. And then he has like the gall to like go after her and be like, Farah, you have to listen to me. Come back here. And it's like no, you're an ass. And like, and I love that they did that, because like all the games at the time were like picking these characters that like were these gruff and tough guys, you know. Not all of them. We all know Tidus. He'll show up later as well. Wink, wink. But again, yeah, the combat in this game is really good. There is some problems, of course, like with the camera, but honestly, like if you're looking at it in the context of the time, I think that it still works. The sword play in this game is amazing. You upgrade with different swords that give you different abilities and different ways to like access different areas. There are puzzles in this game that are actually interesting and like really cool to look at. There is like the sands function that lets you go back in time, which like a lot of people say, oh, it like takes the edge off the game, but really it just adds more edge to the game because you have limited sands, and it makes you wonder, should I do this now or should I do this later? Should I do it at the start of this whole dangerous obstacle, or should I do it later? And I love the Prince of Persia Sands of Time, and you can see my review for it if you wanted like more information on why I love it.
But I'm too exhausted to finish.
I won't let the Orichalcos take you away, Joey.
It's too late for that.
Don't say that. No!
She's been set free.
It's no surprise that I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! I always have been and I always will be. It's something that I've always tied to myself from my childhood that I just can't seem to like shake, and I don't try to shake it off because I feel like I'm entitled to like it if I want. And I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And this honestly to me is one of the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that you can play. Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition is basically this Game Boy game where you play through everyone in Battle City, which is the best arc in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Those 2 seasons of Battle City are freaking fantastic. And you play through all the characters of Battle City. You get hunted by rare hunters, and they will take one of your rarest cards from you when you lose. Basically, you fight through like everyone from Battle City. You eventually go on and you fight against like the main bad. I'm not going to spoil anything really, but you fight like the main bad guys while you're constantly being hunted by rare hunters. The great thing about this game is you can customize your deck. You collect cards. If you win, you get more cards. At the end of the week, you get more cards. There's challenges, there's tournaments, and all of them make it feel like you're actually in Battle City, even though you're not moving at all. I love this game.
How awful. My first day at school is completely ruined.
Coming very close to the end of the list, it's Tekken 6. Tekken is my favorite fighting game franchise of all of them. hands down, because I have this connection to Tekken that I don't have with most RPGs. I know the story from back to front. I know these characters from back to front. I know how they feel. I know who they hate. And this is not me going like, look at me, I know everything. This is just something that like I learned from just playing these games over and over again. I know who won every single tournament. I love these games so much, and Tekken 6 is no different. I got Tekken 6 one Christmas. Every year my grandmother comes over and she would give me like 25 euro. I went down to the shop and I saw Tekken there for 30 euro, and I was like, oh crap. Okay, I'll get a different game. My older sister was with me, and I might cry saying this, but she turned to me and said, I have a $5. Why don't you just get Tekken 6? And I protested once because I was a little kid, and she said, no, we're getting Tekken 6. So she took my money and her money and put it together and bought me Tekken 6. And I treasured that game. The scenario campaign is great. They introduced Lars, which I still think is a fantastic character. They added a lot more depth to Jin's character as well. Who already had a lot of depth to him, and already I think was the main character. A lot of people had a really big problem with him being turned evil and becoming the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, but to me it was the natural progression of that game. You couldn't just have him completely climbing the ladder for 6 games or 5 games and then all of a sudden dragging him down the ladder again and being like, oh, climb back up again. Him being the head and then having everyone else coming up after him made so much more sense, because Jin was heading towards that. And not only that, it completed a lot of stories. It completed the Marduk and King story. It went on and ended the Armor King story, so he could actually finally rest that poor character who's been dragged out of the dirt 300 times. Like in Tekken 4 they tried to just end it, but then everyone was like, we want Armor King, and they're like, fine, we'll try and make more of his freaking story, and they did a good job of it. Yeah, they did a really, really fantastic job of this game, and I love Tekken 6 so much. Look who's here! It's one of the Zelda games that are on my list. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a really big challenge here putting Zelda games in this list, because they're games I played recently, and it's really hard to talk about them in the same vein of the games that I played through my whole life. But when I first played the Ocarina of Time, I felt little to no emotional connection. Then when I went on, I played Twilight Princess. I felt one of the biggest emotional connections of all freaking time. But I'm gonna put Wind Waker, as you can see, as the next part of this list. Wind Waker HD, in fact. I played this game after being suggested it a million times, and I love the gameplay. I love the boat traveling. Yes, there is a lot of pace breaking in the game, but I still think it's fantastic. The dungeons are fun, they're colorful, they're easy to get through, they're not too challenging. The boss battles are fun as well. They let you re-challenge some bosses as well. I love the design of the game. Toon Link is my favorite Link. The Outset Island where you come from, that's what it's called, right, is still so beautiful. I still love that place. It's really weird that I love every single aspect of this game more than Twilight Princess. I love the gameplay more. I love the colors more. I love the setting more. I love the characters in a way more, but except for a few. But two things made it be here on the list, and that's why we're moving on to the next one right now. We're talking about Twilight Princess HD, and there's a reason why it's here, and that's because of two things: the way they handle Zelda's character and the way they handle Midna's character. Zelda is not seen for the whole game, or at least I don't think she is. I don't remember. I'm probably gonna make a fool of myself. Zelda makes an ultimate sacrifice, and then we see her closer to the end of the game when we have a fight with her, which makes this ultimate sacrifice that makes her character so much more interesting. than it has been in any other Zelda game I've played. She is one of the toughest characters ever in video games, and she never gets enough credit because people like to focus on the fact that she's being saved as a damsel in distress instead of the fact that she does a lot of the saving as well. Without Princess Zelda, a lot of us would have nothing playing those games. Another character that I love, and you guys know I love her, is Midna. Midna is the best companion in Zelda. Midna is the best character in Zelda. Midna to me was like the make or break for that video game, because there was times when I was like, I don't know if I want to play through this game much longer, because there's some dungeons I don't even like in that game. Not like entirely, but like there's some dungeons where I'm like, I don't want to go through the rest of this. But Midna is a character that grows and grows on you, not just on herself. She grows as a character, grows as a person, and eventually like you grow so attached to her and you don't realize until the end. And that's the reason why I'm putting it here. It's because of the emotional connection I have to this game and those characters. I hope this list didn't get too wishy-washy, guys, but there it is. Guys, thank you for watching this. As always, guys, if you disagree with my opinions or you hate these games, let me know. But the thing is, this is my list. You can pick other games for your list. That's what's so great about this, is that we all like different video games and we all love video games. That's one of the things I love about video games, is that we all are getting what we want out of video games. We are getting everything we want. If you like video games of any kind, you are getting all that you want now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you very soon.